Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about all things professional wrestling. Hope you guys are having a great midweek. It is Thursday today. Tomorrow is Friday. So thank God we got through it all, which is, 1010% great. Can't wait to, get to the weekend. Hope you guys have some great weekend plans all set up and rearing and ready to go. So, let's go and jump on into it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today, all lined up today. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. We're also going to talk about my Thursday night wrestling preview. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor, also TNA wrestling. And then we're going to talk about Joe Hendry's future in the WWE and NXT. And then we're going to talk about Samantha Irving and the recent, the everything, the negative publicity she's been getting because of the photos on social media and stuff like that. We're not going to get too crazy. We're not going to get, obviously, we're not going to get too graphic or anything like that. I don't know, we're just going to talk a little bit about it, like how it kind of reflects on, how it's kind of been within the world wrestling industry, like, in the present, the past, and perhaps maybe even the future. So, and fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about wrestlers who absolutely despise using social media. So, it's interesting to kind of go from, someone who's using social media as, to an advantage as opposed to, people who absolutely hate using social media. But before we move on and do any of that, I want to remind you guys to use that super chat. Use the super chat. We love hearing from you guys during the show. Whether if it's got a burning question or a hot take about professional wrestling, or it's just something you've been dying to share, we are all here, ears at the GSMC Sports Network. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively and making sure your voice is part of the mix. And so don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside the chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, why not use the super chat? Just hit the dollar sign below the chat box, send in your message, and it's guaranteed to get featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. Your chats helps us keep the lights on to bring you even more juicier wrestling content. We are so grateful for each and every one of you who joins us here. Your support makes a lot of difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together, we'll make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And if the super chat, obviously not your thing, you can hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Give me, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Give me some of your hot takes in terms of professional wrestling. Once again, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. So, make sure you Superman punch the like and subscribe button to the show so we can, kind of get it going here. Get it going. All right, first we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. It kicked off pretty crazy. It kicked off, it was Dynamite. It was pretty cool. We started off with the TBS champion, Mercedes Moné take on Hikaru Shida. Shida obviously is, she's a past AEW World Women's Champion. So, she definitely brought the fight to Mercedes Moné. And kind of like what I thought was going to happen, I knew that I kind of knew that Camille was going to get involved. She got involved once, she got involved twice, and obviously the third time was the charm, which got Mercedes Moné the victory, which was kind of crazy. But after the match, then you had Britt Baker's music, go viral, it hit. But it was kind of funny how Camille thought the person in the mask was essentially Britt Baker, threw them over the barricade and started beating the holy hell out of her. But it turns out it wasn't. It wasn't her. It was just a fan in a mask. And then Britt Baker came from behind and put Mercedes Moné in a submission that could possibly get her the TBS championship at All-In. So, that's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great match right now. I kind of see Britt Baker, kind of having the upper advantage here on Mercedes Moné. Mostly, I know, a lot of people on wrestling social media, like they kind of, they compare it to, kind of like Charlotte Flair versus, Sasha Banks when she was doing her thing. But at the same time, I don't know. I buy it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying Britt Baker is any less of a superstar as opposed to Charlotte Flair. Obviously the daughter of Ric Flair. But obviously there's some discrepancies and stuff like that. But if these two women are going to go out there and put on some grade A matches for the fans, like hell, why not? Like just would have no problem kind of doing that. So definitely love and respect Hikaru Shida, giving it all she's got. But thanks because friends help you. Friends help you. Obviously, she's the heel. That's something Mercedes Moné has in her back pocket, and that's the reason why people dread and hate her and want Britt Baker to win the championship. Next, we had Jay Lethal take on Hangman Adam Page. The fight started backstage before it started inside the ring. I thought that was kind of cool. He once again attacked Jeff Jarrett, but Jay Lethal was able to. He started off strong. He hit five straight suicide dives. I thought, there was a time where I was like, you know what, maybe Jay. And then as soon as after that, then Hangman Adam Page absolutely gained control right away. So I was like, okay, poor Jay Lethal kind of had his 5 moments of fame there, and now we're back to reality. But he put up a hell of a fight. But we have Hangman Adam Page building up momentum for a match with Swerve Strickland, maybe at All Out, perhaps. But you know, this whole edge with Hangman Adam Page, I know that he wasn't. I knew he wasn't going to come back and join the elite. I knew that would have been. I thought that would have been really, really stupid in my opinion. I'm glad he's kind of going out there, doing his own thing, not giving a damn about, who he hurts, not giving a damn about all the supporters he may or may not be getting. But, Hangman Adam Page is on a mission. I would love to see a match with him and Swerve. Obviously, I would not want to see it for the AEW World Championship because I feel like, I don't think that they would give the championship right away to Hangman Adam Page. Although, well then I'm over here talking as if he's already defeated Bryan Danielson at All-In, so we don't know if that's going to happen. But it's kind of speculating. This match is probably going to happen in the future. Will Swerve be champion? Like who knows? But all in all, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Next, we had an MJF Will Ospreay promo that was pretty good. Will Ospreay, went to his home country because MJF was there, fighting or something like that, and he was attacking his best friend. He came and complete shocker, so I thought that was pretty badass. Pac seemed pretty pissed off and wanted to have his Wembley Stadium moment, but it was ultimately taken away because Will Ospreay, he invoked his rematch clause, and he is the number one contender for that AEW International Championship. So, kind of crazy. Next, we saw Jack Perry attack Darby Allin, almost dropped the roof, almost through like this big. I don't know. It was crazy, but thank God he was stopped. Obviously, nobody got hurt. It seemed like there was a lot of promos, a lot of backstage promos, during tonight's AEW Dynamite. Obviously, 2 more weeks heading toward All In, so it's not really that much of a surprise. But I don't know. Kind of wanted to see a little more action and inside the ring. But there was a lot of good matches. There was a lot of good matches. So Jack Perry admits that he wants to fight Darby Allin, so he has no excuses. So he challenges him to a coffin match. Can't wait to see what a coffin match entails. My guess is maybe like a casket match, but I don't know if that's coined by WWE. But we're gonna have a coffin match. It should be pretty cool. It should be pretty cool. Next, we have the number one contender spot. Well, the number one spot in the Casino Royale Gauntlet match. We had freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy taking on Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Overall, it was a great match. It was an amazing match. You even saw the Undisputed Kingdom get involved. Then you saw the conglomeration. You saw Tomohiro Ishii. Uh, Ishii or something. Oh my God, he pronounced his name differently, but I was like, damn, I gotta remember to that's not the right way to pronounce the name. Ishii, I think it was Ishii, but no, it was kind of cool. It was pretty badass. Obviously, you saw the conglomeration come out and back up their dudes, send the undisputed Mike Bennett, Matt Taven packing. I loved seeing that. Would love to see them fight in a tag team match. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy could team up with Kyle O'Reilly, or maybe Tomohiro Ishii could team up with or Kyle O'Reilly. That'd be pretty cool. Then we had another promo. We had the Claudio Castagnoli talking about Kazuchika Okada They sat down with Renee Paquette, but I think Claudio kind of he's been using he used this I don't know this notion that Kazuchika Okada is not taking it seriously. His role in AEW seriously. Ever since he got signed, he's kind of been the lackey for the elite. And I think 1,010% that's true. And he told Renee Paquette, he said, I want to face the true Rainmaker. He wants it to give him 1,010%, which is, pretty badass, for the AEW Continental Championship next week on Dynamite. But I don't know. I see the same thing that Claudio sees. Okada's not the same guy. He's not the same guy ever since he made it to AEW. He's now, now he, curses a bunch. I feel like he's been using the B word way too much to a point where it's like, all right, like we get that, you kind of use language to be, oh, you're a badass, like, what I mean, oh, you're so damn cool. But I don't know. Having these guys in their prime fighting each other would be pretty cool. But this match, I feel like will be interrupted by the elite, and it's just gonna, just be terrible. It's just gonna be a terrible. I don't know. But then again, I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Next, we had a Christian Cage promo talking about the Trios Championship, how he called the match fair and square. Oh my God, Christian Cage is so full of himself. Says he's gonna hold all the titles in AEW at the same time. I don't, I don't believe in Christian Cage. I really honestly don't. But hey, you gotta love his confidence. Next, we saw Hook speak. He called out Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho came out. Then you saw the learning tree, and then he called a Hook a stupid idiot. That was obviously he called him a stud. You are a dumb sob. Like it was classic heel Chris Jericho. So I feel like you know because I had my doubts about their learning tree. Being brutally honest, I honestly didn't think that it was working. Big Bill. It was kind of crazy. Hook called him a big, B word rhymes with which. I thought that was pretty funny. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna put you right up. Taz is like, it was funny promo. I thought it was pretty great. I thought it was pretty great. It got. I think. Oh my God, who was laughing? I think I heard Tony Schiavone laughing. I think it was him, but I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." It was a good promo. Overall, it was great. Setting up a match next week. He fights Big Bill, but at AEW All-In, he takes on Chris Jericho for that FTW championship. But if he loses, he will no longer be a part of Chris Jericho's life. He cannot challenge Chris Jericho. It's over. It's over. So, kind of crazy how that all worked out. Last thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks and the former champs, the Acclaim. We knew that the Young Bucks were going to win. Still being brutally honest, I don't think they're the same team. When they signed AEW or when they created AEW. I don't know. I don't think they're the same dudes. They just seem like they have lost their way inside the ring. They've lost their way backstage, cutting promos and stuff like that. This whole thing with the elite, like it's to the point where I feel like most of the fans are just waiting for something to die. And if for a successful wrestling, like, promo or successful wrestling storyline or a heel faction to kind of be successful, you kind of have to have some people like kind of backing it up a little bit. Like, what I mean? Even during the whole McMahon Helmsley era, like people still liked, Triple H and they still liked the DX and the Suck It and the X Pac and the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and stuff. There were still fans. I honestly think that there's, right now you have nobody rooting for the elite. And by all means, maybe this could be a way for them to be like, okay, so it's working. I don't know. For me, I feel like it's not. But that's just me, obviously. If you have something, obviously different, send it in the chat. Tell me how you feel about that. So I don't know. It was just, overall, it was a good Dynamite. I liked it. But I don't know. It's just, just that main event was a little. All right, so we're going to move on. We're going to talk about our Thursday night wrestling preview, jumping into the world of TNA and the ring of Ring of Honor. So stay tuned, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite type of flavor of juice boxes. I don't know. I have kids now, so there's juice everywhere. I've been on this. I've been on an apple juice kick lately. For a while, I was on berry juice, and now we have the Capri Suns, the Pacific Coolers that are pretty damn delicious, to be honest. So, maybe snag one of those during the break. But hey, anything you want to grab, join us for more wrestling at the GSMC Sports Network. We'll be right back.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday here to talk about professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. Also, backstage curtain drama, superstar news, updates, injuries, contract statuses, and stuff like that. Make sure you tune in. We talk about everything from AEW to WWE to, Ring of Honor, TNA, and NXT. Obviously, the NXT is becoming its own entity, so we got to start saying NXT. So I don't know anything about professional wrestling. Of course, if you guys have a burning question, make sure you hit up the chat. Would absolutely love to hear from you guys 1,010%. So let's go ahead and move on to our second segment. But before we do any of that, definitely 1,010% want to remind you guys to use this super chat box. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. If you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, you can share it. If you're dying to share, we are all ears. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively, keeping the party going, making sure your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy. Drop in your thoughts in the chat. And if you really want to make sure your comments or questions gets noticed, why not use that super chat box? Just hit the $ below the chat box, send in your message, and it's guaranteed to be featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. 1,010%. Your super chats help us keep the lights on and bring you even more awesome wrestling content that you love so much. We are so grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here. Your support makes a lot of the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And, together we can make this show a hell of a lot better. And if the super chat, obviously, if that's not your thing, obviously you can hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Give me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me some, hardcore takes on professional wrestling. I love talking about some hardcore takes about professional wrestling. So, definitely love hearing conflicting, just views in terms of professional wrestling. Just, keeps the thing going. I like to kind of see this podcast as like, you kind of walk up to a bar, you're watching wrestling, and then even if they do have the wrestling on top of the tube, usually, it's kind of crazy. Usually, like if you go on a late Monday night when there's not Monday Night Football, and if it's not baseball season or basketball season, they always usually play, some, I don't know, they just play Sports Center, and you're like, dude, turn on some Monday Night Raw, dude, like, come on. But, you pull up a saddle net up next to somebody, you just want to, break up a conversation, buy them a drink, hang out, chill. And, you just talk about some wrestling. You can watch this podcast, you can hang out, and, think of me as, that guy at the bar stool next to you. Be like, hey, totally talk to this guy. This guy's not weird at all. Definitely not weird. maybe a little weird. I'm just kidding. No. But here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love you guys. We, remember the Superman punch, that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network. It's the best sports network around. So, give you the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that you will never ever regret hitting that subscribe button. All right, so let's talk about Thursday night wrestling. It's Thursday. You know what that means? Ring of Honor. I'm just kidding. No, it's not though. But then again, it is owned by Tony Khan, so maybe maybe a little bit more excitement in terms of Ring of Honor. But it's a jam-packed night of championship action is underway tonight on Honor Club. So yeah, let's do it. Ring of Honor World Championship match. We have Mark Briscoe taking on Johnny TV. I like Johnny TV. I feel like he kind of had his 15 minutes of fame already inside the WWE, and he kind of came back hot, from the independent wrestling scene, and people thought he was going to be more. Ended up teaming up with the Miz again, have a tag team title run, and then once again it kind of fizzled out. Like, not, kind of throwing shade at his talent or anything like that. In terms of professional wrestling, it is a very cutthroat industry, and people are coming in from absolutely anywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean absolute anywhere. From countries all over the world, from England, from Germany, from France, from Spain, Puerto Rico, you name it. They all love professional wrestling. Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. There's a long list of people who've been watching wrestling since it kind of got its hype back in the 80s. Back when it was like 80s wrestling. But, this match is going to be great. I feel like it's going to be a nice way for Johnny TV to kind of, show that he's still a contender in the main event kind of card area. Does he have a chance against Mark Briscoe? I think no way. This is one championship match that Mark Briscoe is going to fight. That I feel confident saying that, yeah, I think the dude's going to win. You know what I mean? My dog. I was a little skeptical about Kyle Fletcher because Kyle Fletcher was doing so damn good. Mark Briscoe was able to pick up the victory. And then we had Roderick Strong take on Mark Briscoe at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. And then, just 2 days earlier, we saw Mark Briscoe participate in that hellacious, just that crazy ass, oh my God, it was insane. It was like it was blood and guts match against the Elite. But all in all, it was, he was able to pick up the victory, and it was an absolute shock. I was like, damn, this guy's a beast. This guy's a beast. But you know why Ring of Honor keeps the title on this guy is that he's just electric. You hear him talking on the mic, you see him inside the ring performing. This guy's jumping off the chairs. He's doing backflips off the top rope from the apron. This guy literally doesn't. He literally puts everything on the line to entertain the fans. And I think Ring of Honor couldn't have gotten any luckier with Mark Briscoe. And obviously, before he passed away, Jay Briscoe, the Briscoe brothers, definitely wrestling royalty, 1,010%. Some of the best wrestling I've ever seen in my lifetime as a professional wrestling fan. So definitely think 1,010%. Mark Briscoe is going to retain his championship tonight. Next, we have a World TV Championship match. We have Atlantis Jr. taking on TMDK's Robbie Eagles. I think TMDK, I think he needs a little exposure. It's been a while. You had Atlantis Jr. dethrone Kyle Fletcher, which was it was shocking. I thought it was shocking 1,010% from the CMLL. But, with this new merger, I just, recently you saw Mercedes Moné become a double champion. She is the New Japan Professional Wrestling Strong. Then you also had Willow of Nightingale win the CMLL World Women's Championship. So they're not afraid to mix belts here. They're not afraid to mix belts here whatsoever. I think, Atlantis Jr., he's had a great run. I feel like he's had a great run. If I had to make a shocking prediction, I think Robbie Eagles would get the win because the TMDK, obviously numbers play. And right now, Atlantis Jr., I think right now kind of has the, stacks against him here. But, he's a great wrestler. I, can't really take anything away from Atlantis. But I don't know. I just feel like, it would create more buzz to kind of have the title go across, kind of company lines here. I think that would be, kind of be pretty badass. All right, next we have we have Ring of Honor World Six-Man Championship match. Dustin Rhodes teaming up with the Von Erichs, the champions Marshall and Ross, taking on Cage of Agony, Brian Cage, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan. This is going to be the ultimate. This is going to be an ultimate test. This is going to be a great test for Dustin Rhodes, the Von Erichs, the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Champions, because these guys are some dudes. Brian Cage is, he's right there. I feel like he's so close to becoming part of this main event kind of caliber, stardom that he needs to reach. I feel like he should have reached it before, but I know like he kind of had his moments where he could have been, he could have been better than ever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was bad booking. I don't know if it was in terms of creative, you know, uh, dilemmas or anything like that. But overall, Brian Cage is he's a star. He's a star, the leader of Cage of Agony. It'd be crazy. It'd be an amazing, way to pick up the win here. So, should be pretty awesome. Dustin Rhodes and Von Erichs have been busy men in the last couple of weeks after winning the Eliminator match at Death Before Dishonor 2024 to earn a spot in the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Championship match. They made most of their moment and defeated the Undisputed Kingdom at Battle of the Belts to become new champions. Just 5 days later, the trio from Texas made their defense from a newly won titles against the Iron Savages. Then last week, Dustin teamed up with Sammy Guevara to beat Dark Order in a tag team match. So, Dustin Rhodes still at his age, ready for a retirement tour, but he says he wants to retire on his time, not so much talking about when his contract ends or anything like that, or even before that. And I think after the legacy that he's left inside professional wrestling, either if it was WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, et cetera, he has the right to do that. I think 1,010%. But I think they're gonna pick up the victory here. I think they're gonna, I think they're gonna bounce back. I think they're gonna bounce. They're gonna hit it. They're gonna hit it tonight. Then next we have a one-on-one match. We have Arya Daivari taking on Katsuyori Shibata. Shibata recently has been kind of within the whole Hook, learning tree kind of drama here. And he's had his hands full with Chris Jericho, the Bad Apple, Brian Keith, and the Big Redwood, Big Bill over on AEW Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. With Hook coming back in action, I think that's huge for Shibata. Now he can stop looking over his shoulders, so to speak, so much. Obviously, Hook is going to watch his back, but they're outnumbered right now. They are outnumbered. You had Chris Jericho drive Samoa Joe through a wall. Samoa Joe was hanging on the. He was laying on the forklift. He was literally written off. AEW television because he's off filming the second season of Twisted Metal, which is pretty cool. I like that. I think that's 1,010% pretty badass. But kind of starting something between the pyramid athletes here. It'd be interesting to see like them go at it like trios. The wrestler has tangled with smart Mark Sterling's clients before on the June 22nd edition of Collision. Shibata has had a lot of success in New Japan Professional Wrestling. Now it seems he needs a bounce back match. He really, really honestly needs a bounce back match. But it's not as a breeze as you think it is. Daivari's he's a phenomenal athlete. Obviously, he can do things inside the ring that other wrestlers can't. Never really gets the credit. So, I watched highlights of this guy on Ring of Honor, ringofhonor.com, and I don't know. I just think a lot of people don't really give him. Obviously, you have Tony Nese, he's the dude, but got to give some credit to Daivari here a little bit. And I think Katsuyori Shibata is going to have his hands full, 1,010%. Next, we have Griff Garrison with Maria taking on SAP I always say that wrong. Serpentico. I think that's pretty. We have a proving ground match. Ring of Honor Pure Champion Lee Mayority against Action Andretti. We also have words from Ring of Honor World Women's Champion, the Fallen Goddess Athena, Harley Cameron versus Viva Van, Blake Christian against Leo Rush, Anthony Henry going against Anthony Henry and Beef in action. So, got that to look forward to as well. All right, TNA. We have first class taking on Sami Callihan and Rhino. Steve Maxlin taking on the newly signed Zion from WWE. I want to see what this newcomer has in store. I like Zion. I thought he was pretty cool. He's a very decorated athlete outside the WWE. He was a professional rugby player. I think he was a professional rugby player. I think that's badass. 1,010%. We're gonna witness the fallout from PCO and Stephanie Lander's wedding. Jordan Grace has an open challenge. Joe Hendry battling NXT's Wolfgang. Plus here, Josh Alexander and much more. Rick Swann with AJ Francis take on Reverso. I think we also no. I think no. I think we also have. Dang it! I think we also have a match tonight. We also have a Ring of Honor match. We have Josh Alexander taking on the TNA World Champion Nic Nemeth in a match tonight, so that should be pretty badass. And then, of course, like I said, we'll hear from Jordan Grace. We have Emergence X, Ultimate X, Austin, Poach, and Swan. Emergent X. Also, we have Chris Bay, John Schuyler, and Riley Osborne from NXT. We have Tasha Steelz, Gisele Shaw. We also have Mike Santana against the leader of the system, Moose. We'll hear from Steve Macklin. And then the main event, we will have Nic Nemeth against Josh Alexander. So all good stuff. It should be amazing. Obviously, TNA's been on fire lately. So I don't know. It should be pretty crazy. Should be awesome to see. All right. So now we're going to move on to our third segment. We're going to talk about Joe Hendry. We're going to talk about his future. He wants to be an NXT World Champion. He admitted that against Ethan Page on NXT. So let's go ahead and dive and talk about it. Let's talk about the legacy that Joe Hendry has had so far, debuting in the WWE. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. So hey, stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday here to talk about the best thing in the world, professional wrestling. So yeah, let's go and dig on into it. We recently, just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had we talked about AEW Dynamite. We talked about my Thursday Night Wrestling preview, which I apologize. I think I kind of touched on last week's TNA. I think I kind of messed up my notes a little bit there, but overall, it's going to be a great episode of TNA. I got the main gist of it. Apologize for missed a step there, but let's go on and talk about our next segment. We're going to talk about my man Joe Hendry and being a future NXT World Champion. Of course, always hit up that super chat box below the description. So to hit super chat, super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. Obviously this the flow of the show, to keep the party going, we need you guys' voice to make the show a hell of a lot better. Love audience engagement. Of course, when you guys are having fun, then I'm having fun. So here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So remember to hit up that subscribe button, subscribe to the network, subscribe to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Give us super thanks. We give you guys super thanks. And you guys just give us a beautiful and juicy super chat. Give me a juicy super chat. Let's get it going. Let's get this boat sailing here. Anyways, so okay, before I get into anything, we also have a chat from Jay, who says, "I watch wrestling. What is your favorite wrestler?" Right now, my favorite wrestler is Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know. I just think he's I don't know. I just think he's such a great wrestler. Like when you kind of had people bail on AEW, you had Samoa Joe representing the company pretty well with that championship. He defeated MJF, and then MJF got injured, and then you had Cody leave, and then almost like 7 months to 9 months later, then you had CM Punk leave, and then you had MJF get injured, and then they put the strap on Joe, and then you saw Swerve Strickland kind of have this journey from being an absolute scumbag to becoming one of the most loved wrestlers on the AEW roster. And definitely I respect a journey like that. I do. Right now, as of right now, it's Swerve Strickland, but all time I gotta, Shawn Michaels. Gotta love the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. I used to try to emulate Shawn Michaels, walking around, working out and stuff like that, trying to be the nowadays, the modern day Heartbreak Kid, Eric Rodriguez, but that wasn't really as great as Shawn was. But overall, I think Shawn would have been proud. I think Shawn would have been proud. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about my man. Say his name, man. He appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Bah, bah. Oh my God, this guy has come onto the scene in terms of professional wrestling with like a snap of the finger, like it's crazy. Joe Hendry has taken not just the world of WWE, but the world of professional wrestling by storm. He is a social media sensation. On this coming Tuesday, he's going to fight Wes Lee. He's also going to fight Pete Dunne in a triple threat match to find out who takes on the NXT World Heavyweight Champion All Ego Ethan Page at No Mercy. So this is big. This is big for Joe Hendry. This is very big. We had Wes Lee, who is feuding with Zachary Wentz from the Rascals on TNA. I personally think they're gonna end up fighting each other at No Mercy. Then you also have Trick Williams wanting a second round against Pete Dunne. So who's left to kind of? But then again, you do have Gallus. Gallus is still kind of lurking around the corner there. I don't know if they're gonna do something to cost Joe Hendry the championship or the shot at the championship, which would suck. Which would suck 1,010%. Because people fall in love with this guy. All the fans are into him. He's so over with the fans right now. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how crazy this guy blew up overnight in terms of making it over to the WWE NXT roster. Definitely love, respect Joe Hendry 1,010%. And this also kind of makes me think that what other TNA talents that WWE kind of surpassed when they kind of had that forbidden door slammed shut. Not just slammed shut. That crap was bolted shut. They're like, you know what? We don't want to mess with anybody from TNA. We don't want New Japan. No, they are they're below us. You know what I mean? But obviously Triple H doesn't think that way. Obviously Shawn Michaels don't think that way. They overall want to just get the best product for the fans. So yeah, I think we're in pretty good hands there. Is Joe Hendry could be next in line. He could be next in line. Imagine him winning the WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be good for WWE. It'd be great for TNA. 1,010%. Like Joe Hendry would, kind of bounce back and forth, represent the NXT title there. But overall, if you want to kind of usher in this new era, Ethan Page so far as a champion has been all right, but he did recently debut in AEW, so he has a lot of time. I still feel like he has a hell of a lot of time to kind of go out there and prove himself and maybe touch on being a champion maybe twice. I see him more as a North American champion, and I'm not trying to seem rude or anything like, or I'm not being, oh, Ethan Page isn't good enough to hold the NXT World Championship. I don't believe that at all. I just like when I see him, when I watch him wrestle, when I watch his matches, and I'm like, yeah, I can see how he could be like that champion antagonist, how people want, you want to get his hands on him, but at the end of the day, he's going to wrestle his arse off. It kind of reminds me of like an MJF of, NXT. Obviously, that's a huge upgrade in terms of all ego Ethan Page. But I think he won the title way too early. Obviously, the decision to take the belt off of Trick Williams and put it in an All Ego is to kind of have a different direction in terms of the, NXT. And, I don't think the NXT World Championship is going to, have longer reigns than it, as opposed to the North American Championship like Wesley, also Obafemi. But I know it could be, it is possible. It is possible 1,010% that Joe Hendry could win at No Mercy. He wins in November. No, I think it's September. And then you have October. And then bam, October 1st, the CW, Joe Hendry represents NXT. I think that's great. I think that would make for way better TV as opposed to, having Ethan Page remain the NXT champion. This guy's kind of like the combination of The Rock in terms of like going out there and performing and being, being a musician. He was a musician before he was a WWE wrestler, so I thought that was kind of cool. And kind of like you kind of have The Rock meet John Cena because this guy is electric inside the ring. He puts on great matches. He puts over superstars inside the ring. Thousands of, it's like it's crazy. He protects his own character and integrity, but at the same time, he helps the wrestler he's fighting also become better than he ever was before. And I'm not just trying to say that to them. I'm not trying to stroke the ego, so to speak. I'm not trying to, one hit wonder. I'm not trying to fall in love with this fad, so to speak. I think it'd be great for for NXT to have a champion like Joe Hendry. I got to be honest. It was working with Trick, but at the same time, like I mentioned before, it was to a point where I was like, all right, it seems like whenever he goes out, it just seems like kind of the same dealio a little bit. Trick Williams goes out there and he just kicks everyone's ass. But all in all, Ethan Page, I feel like it's not that he's uninteresting. And, with NXT booking him against Oro Mensah, that's not Ethan's fault. I don't think it should have been a bigger superstar in his first title defense. I believe that 1,010%. If it's your first title defense, you have to, staple your name down there. But it just, I don't know. I just think it wasn't good enough. I just think Joe Hendry would be, I don't know. It'd be far more beneficial for NXT to kind of do that. So, the Forbidden Door has been open with new partnership, of course, between WWE and TNA. Joe Hendry had this to say, and I quote, he said, Triple H, Paul Levesque, sorry, excuse me. Triple H, Paul Levesque said, we are open for business. The WWE Chief Content Officer said after SummerSlam of 2024. Hendry's stardom first started when he showed up in NXT on June 18th. There's been a couple of TNA stars that opened the door, but not as successful as Joe Hendry, and that's 1,010% true. He, when he debuted in the Battle Royal, although he was the first to get eliminated, you also had, Frankie Kazarian inside there, his one of his rivals from TNA. But I don't know, it's just the way he remained on the scene. Then he went backstage and yelled at Shawn Michaels. He's like, "You will believe in Joe Hendry." Like, and he's, when you say his name, he will appear. So, 1,010%. I think that's good for NXT there. NXT, like I said, is going to the CW. They need a major star, and Joe Hendry had this to say: "This partnership between TNA and WWE has been a perfect example of business done right. Business done right is where every party wins," Joe Hendry told USA Today Sports. And he also has full access to the WWE Performance Center. So he's working out there. He's, getting the hang of, the style of the WWE trainers, the way that they want their promos, kind of taking over and stuff. Like he's becoming a superstar slowly but surely in terms of, WWE. He also said, you can see it in my face when I walk out. And you could definitely see that. Joe Hendry feels genuine happiness when he walks through those curtains down the ramp inside that ring. He, when like I said, if you love doing something and people admire it, it's beneficial for both of you guys. Because one, you're getting what you want because you're doing what you love. And second, the people that are watching are getting what they want because they can tell that you love the thing that you're doing. And so then they can enjoy themselves. They can, kind of be like, sometimes I go to a couple baseball games, a couple sporting events, and I, kind of sit down on the chair and I'm like, all right, like, here we go, another sporting event. Sometimes it just drags. But with Joe Hendry inside the ring, it's a nonstop, like he engages with the fans so much. From the start of his theme song to when he leaves, when he performs live on stage, also when he fights inside the ring, he gets the crowd going. He never, ever, ever ignores the wrestling crowd, which is a huge reason why he's going to be a star, 1010%. There's just a limitless amount of possibilities that could benefit from this TNA WWE partnership. Amazing long term storytelling could happen 1010%. Joe Hendry also said, "I'm just very grateful for the way fans have embraced the fun in which I am trying to do." And that I just think that's awesome. Like I said, he makes music. Hendry said that Jordan Grace did an incredible job in her WWE appearance, elevating the TNA brand. Joe Hendry also represented Great Britain internationally in a freestyle wrestling back in 2017. He also represented Scotland in 2018 in the Commonwealth Games. So this guy, an international star. Why not make him the head of WWE NXT representing the championship on him, especially if you want to, try to sell out arenas, so to speak. So, definitely think 1010% Joe Hendry will be the NXT World Heavyweight Champion. All right, so next we're going to talk about Samantha Irvin and her recent social media bombshells, how it's kind of affecting the wrestling world, positive, negatively. Like, obviously, it's not going to get too graphic. I don't have those pictures for you guys. I apologize. You guys can look them up or whatever. But I think she actually deleted them. So, hey, guys, I apologize. But no, so we're going to talk about how it kind of affects the wrestling world a little bit in terms of her, other superstars, what happened, just like stuff in the past and stuff like that, so we're going to dig on into it when we return. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our AEW Dynamite review. We also had my Thursday Night Wrestling preview. Then we talked about Joe Hendry's future and him becoming the new NXT World Heavyweight Champion, heading toward their new TV deal with the CW October 1st. So, let's talk about our next segment. We're going to talk about Samantha Irvin and her recent social media bombshells. So, let's go and dig on into it. So, like I said, recently you kind of had Samantha Irvin. She's the ring announcer from WWE Raw. She recently hit 1 million viewers in terms of social media, which is pretty good, which is pretty awesome. Definitely, got to respect her for that. She recently said in a post, she said she is retiring from her Wednesday, picks. And, getting positive feedback, obviously, you also have fans that are like, good for you. Obviously, with the, self-image, like body confidence and stuff like that. That's important. Very important. It's, kind of like who cares? Who cares? Like, if people have negative connotations, they're like, you know what? Why are you doing this? Why are you posing? You know what I mean? Like, it's, if I don't know. It's just, it's a very touchy subject, so I'm trying to tiptoe around, causing a stir, so to speak. But I don't know, 1010%. I think if she is doing something good for herself, if she thinks that, obviously, the pictures that she's posting and stuff like that, in modern day professional wrestling, a lot of fans are getting upset because, oh, my children watch this. I've read posts, I read social media remarks in terms of some things, and she was like, and people were just like kind of trashing her a little bit, and I don't know, it just seemed wrong. It just seemed wrong 1,010%. And then now she's kind of, dictating the way she lives her life based on, people's negative remarks toward those pictures. But in reality, like, you see people do that all the time. Just because, she's the Ring Raw announcer, all of a sudden, like, it's a super big deal. You know what I mean? Like, when people post on social media, they do one of two things, I believe. I think one, obviously, you're just posting, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to keep with the new digital era in terms of social media, you kind of can be your own public relations kind of person a little bit. And then second of all, like, obviously you have to be careful. You have to be careful to kind of blur those lines between appropriate and also inappropriate. But I guess according to like WWE policy, she didn't violate any of them. So I don't see why anybody should be really pissed or anything like that. But I don't know, it's just kind of I think it's cool how she got some followers and stuff like that. Um, she was she was breaking the internet, quote unquote, that was kind of going live on social media. But she also has an amazing voice. She also has an amazing voice. She brings the fans inside the ring whenever she announces and stuff like that. So it's not just like she's using her body to get followers and trying to get follows on social media and get people to be interested in her. But because 1,010%, she is an amazing ring announcer. She does she doesn't need any of that, like, you know what I mean. But she obviously does have talent. She does have an amazing talent. I guess when she signed with WWE, they tried to get her to be a wrestler, but once when he noticed the voice, I think I read that I think she took part in America's Got Talent and she made it to the semis, which is pretty badass. Not a lot of people could say that. 1,010%. You also have you have the haters. You have just so many haters. So many people saying that, oh, you're using sexual appeals to become popular. And like, hey, honestly, like, to each your own. Like, you know what I mean? To each your own. If life after WWE could happen. WWE could possibly not sign you. They could not sign you. Like, and imagine, like, models get paid millions of dollars just to represent a brand. If you have the limelight and if you could use it to your advantage, especially with WWE, I think she's getting noticed fast. And, you kind of have to look out for numero uno here, which is like yourself. You have to look out for yourself. If you're not, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just gonna, you're just living your life. You're just, doing social media. That's what, I'm not a huge social media kind of guy. That's why I never really post pictures and stuff like that because I don't want to, maybe if I wanted to show off my dad bod, I'd be like, hey guys, I'm just kidding. No, I definitely don't want to do that. But I don't know. I just think it's, I think what she's doing right now, you're kind of representing yourself as a brand. And essentially, that's what you are moving forward in terms of the professional business like world. Like she could definitely get a gig for being a model. She can get a gig for being like maybe she pursues her singing career. Maybe perhaps that works out, or maybe perhaps she stars in TV shows or movies or anything like that. Because WWE ring announcers don't get paid like glamorous salaries like everybody thinks. They get paid pretty good, but with traveling, you got to pay for lodging and food and stuff it's not that easy. Like if you have if you have the opportunity to kind of go out there and make some money, kind of do it on your own. I did it my way. So that's what Samantha Irving's doing now. She's kind of going out there. She's doing it her way, and like I said, she has not violated any WWE policies. We have a bunch of Lillian Garcia gave her respect, kind of passed the torch on to Samantha Irving. You also had when Christy Hemme did TNA, she posed for Playboy. So it's not like it's this thing that's never happened or obviously it was different during different times. But that's just the thing. We are during different times in terms of social media and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's kind of crazy. She caused an outcry. She caused, quote unquote, caused an outcry in the wrestling community because of all the haters. And even her fiance Ricochet, he's left remarks on every single post. So it's not like, and plus the dude himself is, he's handsome as hell. So it's not like he's this hideous guy that's like, oh, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to your boyfriend? Like, what the heck? Does he approve? Are you really doing it? Like, it's not like that. It's not like that 1,010%. She's an amazing gifted announcer. It just so happens that she's pretty. Like, you know what I mean? It's not beating around the bush, not trying to be rude, or not trying to, cause a stir, trying to be too graphic or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I guess if you got it, you got it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like anything should be bad or it's not like, like ex devil, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's anything like that, but it did kind of cause a bombshell. She did take down those posts, which is, if she feels like that's the way that's going to cause like some good in terms of her negative publicity lately, like by all means, like, do you whatever you want. But I don't know, just do whatever makes you happy, dude. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know, just say, kind of being a part of the cutthroat industry. I think her fiance Ricochet, he understands. You kind of gotta do, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do to be noticed. And because if you have model status, like, you know what I mean, like that, like, why not? And WWE, like, he knows that, like, and the fans know, and especially me as a fan, I'm like, dude, honestly, WWE didn't do crap for Ricochet. Like I said, I kind of compared Ricochet to that toy that was very popular in the independent wrestling circuit that WWE was like, oh my God, this guy's getting noticed, guys. We should sign him. We should sign him. Then they sign him. He has one Intercontinental Championship run, and that's it. They give him the Speed Championship, 3-minute matches on X.com with WWE. Woo! It's not sufficient. It never was sufficient. Ricochet was kind of abused by WWE creative. I feel like WWE could have did a lot better with Ricochet, and he kind of looks at it as the opportunity. He's like, you know what? WWE is one of the biggest world wrestling entertainment conglomerates inside the whole entire world. So, if you have a way to kind of, get your name out there, kind of represent your brand a little bit, kind of get the ball moving, so to speak, in terms of if you want to go back to your audio, to your voice career, like, you can do that. If you want to be an actor, you can do that, act in commercials, movies, and stuff like that. It's happened all the time with WWE wrestlers. Why not with announcers? Also, you could be like, she could get model agencies and stuff like that. Those girls get bank, man. They get paid bank. Even male models get paid bank. That's maybe I got to start working out. You know what I mean? Like, dad bods are us. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. I just think it's it's a kind of craze. I think I was looking it up on I think I was reading Ringside News. I read an article about her hitting 1 million followers, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool!" And then it said something about like, "Oh, people, negative outcry and stuff like that." I was like, I don't think that's cool. Kind of like quoting Carlito, be like, "You know what? That's not cool." But I don't know. You got to shine while you can. You got to shine while you can. She's gotten the love and support of her colleagues. Obviously, she's not the only WWE superstar. The WWE um, part of WWE employment that has had, visual graphic post on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Natalia Neidhart also has a couple of photos. Stephanie Vacour, Thea Hale, Ariana Grace, and it's just, it's to the point where it's like, you know what, like, if they're kind of going out there and if they feel confident enough, like, dude, whatever floats your boat, man. I just don't think it should cause such a negative outcry in terms of social media, in terms of the wrestling community and stuff like that. I don't know. Just do have fun. Like, obviously back then, in terms of WWE, they kind of had divas kind of go out there and by all means, it wasn't voluntary. Like, there was no such thing as social media to post pictures and stuff like that. But some of the divas back in the day got they got photo shoots. They got hit up from model agencies. A couple of them got into the Hollywood business and stuff like that. Like, so yeah, I don't know. It gets to the point where, like, wherever you go, try to take advantage of everything you absolutely can. Because at the end of the day, they're kind of, WWE is like, you know what? We're not pissed off at it. Because guess what? Fans are looking at her like, oh my God, who is this super pretty girl? What the hell? Let me do the research. Samantha Irving. Oh, she's part of the WWE. I'm going to start watching WWE now. So it's, like so WWE's like, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So 1010%, I want Ricochet to come back to the WWE. Maybe Samantha Irving can help us, get Ricochet to sign with WWE. But I think he'd be great in AEW as well. Like I don't know, conflicting ideologies here. All right, guys. So we talked about a wrestler that has used her social media as a way to get her name out there, and now we're going to talk about some people on social media. No, some wrestlers that absolutely despise using social media. So we're going to get into that when we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, all right, all right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here, your favorite wrestling fan on the hottest wrestling talk show in terms of just all of professional wrestling. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our AEW Dynamite review. We talked about our Thursday Night Wrestling preview. We also talked about Joe Hendry becoming the new NXT World Heavyweight Champion. We also talked about Samantha Irving and her recent and negative publicity and stuff like that with her like photos and stuff like that. So make sure you check out those videos on YouTube. Pretty awesome. 1010%. So now it's our fifth segment, last segment. Hate to say goodbye, but today we're going to talk about wrestlers who despise using social media. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into that. I definitely wish there was, not, oh my God, stop messing with me. You gotta love technology, but at the same time, it kind of bites you in the arse here and there. Got to be honest, Mike. Got to be honest. All right, so we're going to talk about the first superstar, and this is not really a surprise because he's kind of on the older side, kind of like what I just got done talking about. Sometimes, like, it's so crazy. My daughter had to teach me how to send a TikTok, and she's only like 7 or 8 years old. Like it's crazy. Like, and I'm like, really? Like, damn. Like that's amazing. I'm like, dude, like she shows me the way she kind of like has transitions, visual effects, filters, and I'm like, dude, what the S is this, dude? That's crazy. But obviously she just does it for fun. It doesn't really post anything. I'm like, you know what? Me myself, Eric Rodriguez from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. I'm like, you know what? I'm not really that big on, like I said before in our previous segment, I'm not really big on social media. Like I have an Instagram, but I'm like, you know what? Like I just kind of look at funny reels. I should probably be a little more, especially within the business I'm trying to get into. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should be a little more active in terms of social media, but I don't know. So the Undertaker, Mark Calloway does not like using social media. That like older generations, they don't like using that stuff like that, and it kind of becomes tedious. I think there was a story that I heard, and I think he had a hard time posting on social media. I think on WrestleMania or something like that, and he had to get someone's help. So kind of like things like that. You're like, you know what? All these different things. Like, how do I just send a video and just like that's the end of that. But instead, when when you upload a video or when you take a video, then it gives you like, oh, do you want to write text or do you want to scribble or do you want to do this other stuff? And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? All right, I'm done. Like that's why can't I just send a video and then that's that. So well, the Undertaker's kind of stuck in the same boat I am. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Next, John Moxley, also a man who doesn't really partake in social media. His wife, though, Paquette, is really prominent in terms of professional wrestling, social media. She's kind of been that way, being a part of talk shows and stuff like that. So it's not really that much of a shock that she's kind of like the social media savvy kind of person. Which I feel like every couple kind of has that. I feel like there's that person that knows how to do it, and there's that person that doesn't. Sometimes I have to go to my wife. I'm like, hey, like what the hell is this? Like what like, oh, you got to do this and this and that and the other, and I'm like, thanks. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh God, man, showing my age here. Showing my age. So John Moxley definitely part of that list. Also, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens believes that, he wants to do on social media is engage with the fans. And that's something obviously what WWE does. They require their superstars to be active in terms of social media. For Kevin Owens, like he thinks it's a necessity, but when you look at him when he goes to like house shows and stuff like that, he's always inside the crowd. Every single promo he has, he's always talking to he's always talking to the crowd. He makes entrances from the crowd. He also has some matches sometimes taken to the crowd. But overall, Kevin Owens is not a huge social media kind of guy. Bobby Lashley, he said the only thing he really does on social media is retweets WWE content and occasionally send photos and videos of workout stuff. So, kind of using it to kind of up his brand a little bit. I guess kind of like Samantha Irving. Be like, okay, this is, like a workout thing. If Bobby Lashley gets into like physical training later on, he can, use this platform to like sell training videos and stuff like that. I would hella buy a freaking a training video from Bobby Lashley instead of this I did back in the day I think I bought P90X. I don't know if any of you guys remember P90X, where you got these DVDs and if you completed the program and all the dieting and stuff like that, like you get this t-shirt. I did P90X for like 2 or 3 days and I thought I deserved a t-shirt. Like I was like, damn dude, like this is crazy. This is wild. Like it's crazy how like a lot of people that I talk to in terms of physical training, they're like, you know what? Most of it is about, taking care of yourself, exercising daily, having like going to the gym and working out and stuff like that. But more than half the battle is also about dieting. And dieting is so hard. Oh my God. I love myself some pasta. I love myself a sandwich at lunch every day. I love myself some toast, some bagels in the morning, maybe a sweet honey bun, maybe a chocolate chip muffin from 7-Eleven. Like, oh, I just love myself some carbs, man. Love myself some carbs. Next, we have Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston believes that social media does more hurt than actual benefits. So he stays off social media. Huge guy staying off social media. He was one time a 3-time champion. He was the AEW Continental Champion, Ring of Honor World Champion. I think he was a New Japan Professional Strong Champion. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. And usually someone with those kind of accolades, they're like, you know what, you need to post something on social media because you need to represent this brand, yada 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 and stuff like that. And Eddie Kingston's like, no, hell no, I'm not going to do that. I believe social media kind of does a little more harm than good. So obviously, Eddie Kingston believes in that. Becky Lynch is someone who loves to stay off social media. She said, social media should ultimately be used for good. And she's seen a lot of examples how social media could be used for just absolute bad. And I don't know, it's kind of crazy. And it's so true. But in terms of social media, there's so much access to so much rhetoric, like false news, like fraudulent accounts, people stirring up the crowd, and especially during the election season. We're not a politics podcast, but that's something that should be talked about in terms of social media. Social media has this algorithm in terms of trying to find out what people look at. Obviously, people look at things that they love. People look at things that make them laugh and smile. But also some people look at things that, kind of scare them, that kind of cause negative feelings inside the brain. And I think, a lot of social media algorithms do take advantage of that. So definitely respect Becky Lynch's stance on social media, 1,010%. So next, Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon doesn't like using social media because he doesn't like his life out there. And kind of like what you see what's happening with his father right now, that's a pretty damn good, reason not to do it. Like me myself, like I sometimes like I'm hanging out with my kids. I'm like, and I look on social media and then someone's posting, oh, me and my kids doing this, and I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't want my life out there, and that's exactly what Shane McMahon doesn't want. Obviously, there's already a lot of controversy surrounding the McMahon name, even before this Janelle Grant, allegations and stuff like that. Next is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns says there's too many negative outcomes in terms of social media, especially when consuming way too much social media. I think the average person has screen time of like over 5 or 6 hours. That's crazy. That's wild, man. That's insane. So consuming too much could be bad for you. And he said he just uses it to promote his character, not really his family, not really his personal life, but just like the tribal chief and stuff like that. Next, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, he absolutely he hates social media. WWE encourages social media. He hated that. He's very antisocial, which I did not know about the guy. That's why he always had, kind of trouble traveling and stuff like that. The whole time I thought I was like, oh, look at this part-time champion not wanting to come to Raw every day. Like, honestly, like, oh, antisocial, fear of anxiety around people who are introverts to the max. And that's an actual, phobia. So in all reality, like, I don't know, that's kind of crazy. You can't really force an antisocial person to be social because, they're out of their comfort zone. They're, having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and it's just not good. It's just not good. So, definitely, love the reason why Brock Lesnar stays off social media. Next, we have Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson, with all the money, with all the fame, with all the endorsement deals and stuff like that, Bryan Danielson, and I quote, hates being famous. He believes social media represents a whole thing that is wrong with society. And kind of like what we reflected on a little bit before, I kind of understand this stance. And, 1,010%, I'm like, you know what? Like, I've, kind of explored those explorations. Obviously, people who consume way too much social media, it could be bad, but but then it's also important to decipher distinguish between what's good and what's bad. Also, what to do in the situation that, when you are consuming so much social media to the point where it consumes you, to the point where you have negative outlooks in terms of your personality, your physical image and stuff like that. So, me personally, I just use social media for fun, for sports and stupid videos and squirrels water skiing and cats doing stupid stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm just kidding. But we have to wrap it up right now. We have my man Emran coming up with this soccer podcast. Make sure you stay tuned to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the network. Follow the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Also, we just got them talking about social media, but we're good social media. The GSMC Sports Network provides nothing but amazing, family-friendly, fun content. So, you can put your trust in us. Definitely, 1,010%. I won't talk about my dad blog. I know that got a little crazy. I apologize. No, I'm just kidding. Make sure you follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we got Ember with soccer. We have TJ and Jeremy with all around sports. We also have Kenneth and Manny with football podcast. We also have my boy Chris Shepard with the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast, my boy Nelson, with the basketball podcast, my boy Tommy, with an amazing, absolutely, college football is right around the corner. So make sure you tune into his podcast. We also have the Andrew Tate Show, when sports meets entertainment. It's a mix. It's kind of like a beautiful, wide tasting margarita. You got the ice, you got the margarita mix, you got the juice flowing. And it's just, it's just perfect. It's perfect. All right, guys, that's it for me. Once again, hope you guys have an amazing night. Sleep well. You guys are beautiful, but most importantly, just remember that I love you.
Let's go.